That is not the starting screen I want. What's going on, investors? That's here from Investments, and today I want to make a quick little stream taking a look at some charts. So it's been a minute since I've looked at charts. Kind of took a little bit off since I got the feeling that we're going to be in a downtrend for a little bit. But one of the things that being in a downtrend makes me remember is last downtrend, there was a point where I should have been paying attention, and I didn't realize it till we started on the uptrend. And I even told one of my buddies, we got to like a really high Bitcoin valuation of like 60 some $1,000, and I'm like, yeah, if only I was paying attention when it was around 3,000, I could have made a shitload of money. So being a downtrend is the time when you're going to make the most money. So it's the one time you actually want to pay attention and potentially deploy some capital, right? So this time around, I'm going to pay attention. Not going to let the emotions of it being in a downtrend affect it. With that said, I do come at this observation being biased that we are going to continue downward. It's always good to know your bias at the time. Obviously, you want to avoid the bias as much as possible, but it's kind of inevitable that you have a gut reaction to it, right? Like you have a bias going into looking at things and whatnot. You're supposed to let the data dictate what's going on, but let's be real, everyone's a human. So my bias is that we're continuing downward. I think we're probably, it's just spitballing here, but I think we're probably close to like 2/3 of the way down. And I think that's an overall market. I think the US in general is showing strong economics despite the inflation. Our economy is just kind of rolling. And comparatively, other countries seem to be not showing that strength. And it's kind of evident in when we start to look into things like the US dollar compared to the Japanese. The US dollar is just showing strength, which doesn't make sense considering how much inflation we're seeing. But globally, the US dollar is still showing strength. So what am I getting to with this is I think we're close to a 2008 situation where there's going to be a global meltdown again, but right now, the US is showing strength. And I think, like I was saying, overall, we're about 2/3 of the way down. And you got to realize crypto's still a risky asset to be holding. So people, as they cut discretionary spending, aren't going to be putting capital into it and potentially are going to be selling out of it. So any strength we're seeing might not be very long lived, especially if you look at some of the volume. And I'm anticipating that the volume is pretty low. So massive sell off and not really much to write about with volume. So I was anticipating that we were on the 1, 2, 3, 4 wave. You got till 20,000 to prove that wrong, because if it drops below I believe the top of the one wave, then we're negating that. And we are sitting at the 30,000 level, and you can see this is previous floor here, so previous support, and it's kind of holding somewhat, but I don't know how much strength we really have there. So ideally, you'd like to see a decent bottom put in here, but I don't know that that's happened yet. And realistically, if you fall below this support again, you could easily see 20,000, and that would be very plausible. I mean, even in retrospect, though, 20,000 was the high of this bull market, so it'd be a full retrace to 2018 levels, and again tested in 2020 December. I hope it doesn't go that low, but I'm not gonna say that it won't. So let's look at a couple other cryptos here while we sip on our nighttime tea. So I was seeing ABC correction. Obviously, it's got some more down, but look how far this is retraced. Now we're sitting at. Oops! Whoa! 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 Open my history instead of putting a line. Let's move this out of the way. $1.28 and 106 as support, and there's not a lot here. Like realistically, you got this little previous resistance kind of becoming support, but like I thought this was the big one that was going to hold on theta, and it just broke because the macro is so weak. I mean, the global situation, plus Bitcoin on top of it. And then you got to realize this is even, so Bitcoin's a risky asset. This is even riskier. So people are just going to get out of the way of this, and they're going to be quick to take their money. Just curious what amount .io, I think it is. Guardian Monitor. I'm just curious what amount is staked right now of theta. Extreme fear, extreme fear. Yeah, no shit. No shit, brother. I don't. The site changed since the last time I looked at it. It's been a while. What are we looking at? Data stake. 12 total. 63% total. So that's still a pretty high number comparatively. So that's good. So some people at least believe in the project. I definitely still do. And realistically, you're looking at very low entry points, right? But you're basically gambling right now. You got nothing telling you otherwise that this is like showing massive support. Like, yeah, okay, you got a tiny 1, 2, 3 bottom, hasn't even broken out of that yet. Like, you'd at least want to see it get above $1.53 before you start taking action. But even then, I'm gonna be pretty skeptical. Again, the macro situation just doesn't seem like anything's ready to go yet. And I think we still got a lot of economic issues to deal with. BTS, this is one I was looking at previously, and you are just almost all-time lows again. Cool. So you can see previously here in 2017, it hit this point as resistance, and then once it saw it as support, it just mooned, and it's kind of playing at that same level right now, and it's probably not going to do much. I could anticipate dropping further. ICX. So all these are looking the same. I mean, look at these important levels, and you sit here and look at it and think like, hey, well, this can't go any lower. Well, you may be right, but you may be wrong. Like, you have the range from 38 cents to 5 cents, 10 cents. I mean, that's pretty substantial loss if it does crash that low. But again, these are very low price points if you were trying to get into some positions, right? Just maybe wait for signal of confirmation that it's actually turning around, which I don't know that this is happening yet. So you can see I do a lot of horizontal lines. I just look for previous resistance and becoming support. Like, I like to see it test multiple times to see, hey, this was a significant level for this coin at this point, so maybe that significance will carry over into the future. And you can see at, what was it, 4 cents, T Fuel had resistance and then became support. So now we're playing at that level. Let's see if that still holds. Nah, let's come back to some of these markets. Chili's was one that I deployed some capital on, I believe this pump right here. And I thought I was doing great, but turns out it was right before the crash. So there's a couple of them, and we'll get to the US markets like Amazon and a couple of the other ones. But I deployed some capital at what I thought was the right time at the bottom of basically the Ukraine war. There was a couple bottoms that were forming, and I played them right and got profits immediately, but then they just kind of went down from there. Okay, this tea gets really like, so I ordered that mud tea for the nighttime, and it just gets very grainy at the bottom. You almost got to keep stirring it up. Not sure if I'm a fan of that. All right, let's keep going here. We're almost done. XRP was holding at this level here at about 62 cents, but it fell. And you can see it was making higher lows, which is what you want to see, right? So it was looking super bullish up until it crossed down here. To be honest, I was thinking about buying in mid-April because it was starting to look great and it was like ready to go. But I decided not to, and I'm glad I did because the whole market crashed. So let's see if there's significant weight in any of these values. So you can see here, all right, so I'm seeing previous resistance around the same value. I'm going to draw a horizontal line here. Maybe not. There it is. Okay. Previous resistance, support, and did not need to even double test that because it went higher. And it has not seen that level since. So since February 1st of 2021, and now it's seeing it in May. So now we're testing these important level here, 34 cents. You can see it didn't like being down that far, but well, does it have strength? I don't know. Look at this. Look at this volume. Look at this little bit of volume compared to some of these other pumps, right? So like all this down and such little volume. RSI is super low though. Have we had anything lower than this? Yeah, right here. And that is looking like almost an all-time low. Look at this. This is why I draw these lines. Previous support shown right here in 2020, May 14th. And just look at it here. So I don't know. There's not a lot of volume to say anything's happening, right? So I imagine this is most of the charts. They all kind of look the same. They're all waiting to see what happens next. This is one I almost played because I got some. I follow the I don't remember exactly what it is, but like when insiders, people in their own companies make stock purchases, it notifies that group. And this was one where they massively were buying their own stock. And it was at what seemed like the end of this ABC correction. And what this is a company that produces something that stores energy, I believe, and they got a massive contract. However, nothing happened with it. And in fact, it pumped a little bit, but then declined. And you got some massive volume spikes here, but I don't know exactly what's going on. Like, is that more insider buying? I don't exactly know. So it was one that I was monitoring, but I never ended up doing anything. These are trash, absolute trash, right? MXD. So this is a miner that I have, and I track this coin because I earn it, right? And it was a super bullish chart. Super bullish, right? Like higher lows each time, higher lows, and then I was even looking up here. Okay, we had a nice pennant forming up, and the whole market took a shit, and this did the same thing. Still one of the more bullish charts, I would say, comparatively to the other ones. So look at this previous resistance, multiple times tested, previous resistance. Now it's showing support, and maybe the support will hold. Even this little formation on the end is a little more bullish than most of the other ones. Like you can see, it's already broke out of that 1, 2, 3 bottom right there. Now it's just kind of back testing it. So much more bullish, but seems to be a very slow mover too. This is an oil company. We'll come back to that. I want to look at Stellar, and I think that's it for the cryptos. So we were playing Stellar way back in the day of November 2020, and we put a couple buys in, and we were riding it pretty well. And we took a couple profits from here. I think I took profits at least twice, if not 3 times. So it was a decent trade. But XLM is one of those coins where I was kind of following because it's one of the market coins, right? So when the macro is doing okay, XLM and XRP seem to go okay as well, right? They follow kind of the macro trend. It was also looking pretty bullish at the time. I mean, you have these huge step ups, and that's pretty indicative of XRP and XLM the way they move. So I was seeing these compared to these as like a fractal is what I was kind of looking at it like. I was thinking, hey, this pump is going to be huge, and definitely was not, but that's okay. We took profits a couple times on that. So for current status, I mean, you're falling pretty drastically here, but this is showing a little more support than some of the other ones. It looks like. Horizontal line. Previous support back in January 4th, 2021. Kind of looks like it's respecting that. Will it forever? I don't know. Depends on the macro. Depends on if we fall below that 30,000 valuation here that we're kind of playing around with, give or take a couple $1,000s. Okay, so real quick, let's look at some of the US markets. So this was a oil pipeline company that my buddy and I were looking at, and it was kind of like a situation like, hey, oil's going crazy, what are we gonna do, what are we gonna look at? So I saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, nice 5 wave on that with an ABC correction, and it's looking good still. Like I'm not completely convinced this isn't going to play out right like the other ones. And considering the whole market, like this is not a bad chart, but it could be a continuation to the downside. So what I wanted to see, I think I even have an alert up here at this, let's get this going, at this level at about like $12.11. I wanted to see a nice breakout, maybe a back test and then continuation. But you're getting some higher lows, which is good. It's just very slow moving because it's a stock, right? So waiting on this to get into it. But I'm not an expert with Elliott Wave, but this looks right. Am I wrong? Like this, it all kind of adds up. I don't know. You tell me. Everyone's an expert online, right? What was this? Ontology. Yeah, look at this. This is like a all-time low. Besides this massive spike here. Wow. How many of these are we getting? Let's look at just a couple other ones. Bad is a good macro follower. These are just looking not good. Tron looks okay. What's going on with Tron? Why is Tron bullish? You're getting higher lows. What the fuck? I'm gonna put this. I don't know what I just did. I think I removed it. Definitely gonna watch Tron. We get a nice breakout above this level of 9 cents. That might be indicative of something going on, and which is really weird because the macro is just shit. I'll go. Wow, down. And these are very low price points for entries. It's just like you got nothing telling you this is good to go yet. Ethereum is one I'm watching for fundamental reasons. Like there's a lot coming up, like their switch to proof of stake and a couple other things. Like they're going to have a big halvening, but it's going to be more than half. So I'm watching that as well. Would love to pick up more. But we could potentially see. Oh, okay, that's decent support here. Tested a couple times. It breaks. We're probably gonna see 1759. BNB. Wow. Multiple tests. Here, playing around in here. This is where it really showed that this level needed to consolidate here, and it broke above. But it might be showing support. Yeah, BNB is looking better than all the other ones. Yeah, that 1, 2, 3, and a breakout here. So BNB and Tron look like the winners right now. Mana, boy, I don't know. So what I'm seeing is these are all hitting critical levels right now, almost across the board. Some better than others, right? If they can hold these and continue upward, that is great. And I'll look for the signals and potentially deploy some capital here. Okay, let's one more. I want to look at Link. Buddy just took a trade on it. Nothing telling me. Hey, look at this. Okay. Previous support. And it is riding that fine line right now, right? So I would want to see a nice little breakout right above there. Above that new line at about $8. But what's the macro gonna do? Okay, let's look at like two more here. This is one that I put on during the Ukraine war. I think I got in around here at $50. And this is a fertilizer company, right? Russia-Ukraine situation. Obviously, that's huge potential. So I'm not liking the way this chart looks. I mean, you kind of have like a head and shoulders forming ish, kind of scuffed up, but I don't know. I still think there's a lot to be said as people are moving away from Russia supplies. I don't think that's going to last long. I think people are going to need Russian supplies, but everyone's kind of just hoping that their government collapses at this point, right? Or loses support. Okay. Amazon is another one that I put a play in, and I think I put it in at this level here at about 2,700. I caught it at the bottom real well, or what I thought was the bottom, and it showed it was going to continue higher, and it shit the bed because of the macro, right? The whole world is kind of in chaos, so Amazon is in chaos, and I think a little bit of the union situations going on are kind of affecting this as well. But let's be realistic. Amazon is like the new Walmart, so I think it's still like it's a good investment, but you potentially see more to the downside. So previous resistance, support here, showing support as well here. If we fall below that, I think you probably see around 610, the next level. Next even steps down. And if it gets to that level, I'll probably end up buying a little bit more. Does not have a lick of formation down here. I don't see much anything. So maybe we see more downside. Who knows? Pure energy minerals. This is a lithium play that I've been in, and just nothing doing. Probably too speculative. So I guess my takeaways are: watch Tron, watch this PAA pipeline one, and there was one other one, BNB. They all look decent. Tron, BNB, and PAA. Waiting on PAA for confirmation. BNB looks pretty good. Okay, that's all I got. I just wanted to start. I don't know. This probably isn't going to be a regular thing, but I just wanted to take action and do something, even though this might not be the thing to do. I want to be doing something, and I couldn't think of anything else. So this is it. Till next time. Later.